Welcome to a Friday Reads, where I talk about what I read, what I'm reading, what I hope to get to next, and I've read a lot. Like, a lot. We'll see if I can keep that momentum going to finish the month, but I think I finished, like, an absurd amount of books since I've last chatted with you guys. I won't go into too much detail, but I did finish Northern Lights. This is my Folio Society version. If you're ever someone who's like, I love special editions, but I hate not being able to read them, I think these are really easy to read and not feel like you're at all damaging them. They're kind of just like a slightly elevated version of a book, and they just feel really super high quality. I love it. It was such a good read with a bunch of friends. It was good. I also finished Paladin's Grace. So the first in the Saint and Steel part of The World of the White Rat. I thought this was delightful. I got a little stressed at some points because I just get stressed, but at least in this one, so some of my complaints about the romantasy side of T. Kingfisher, not the fairy tale retelling with romance in it, T. Kingfisher, because I think those are different, is sometimes like the conflict stresses me out or the characters are just being like in their heads kind of dumb. And I don't think that happens as much here. Or at least they are directly called out for it on page. So like he doesn't think he's deserving of anything. She thinks so little of herself, you know. But there's also just like some plot stresses that I'm like, I know it'll be okay. But I was a little like, what is happening? And I think part of that is me personally. I hate injustice in law systems, and the White Rat Guild is actually lawyers, and so it makes sense that they're used in this case for a situation. But I just got really stressed because I don't trust justice systems to like accurately instate justice. Like I don't know, so I just get stressed for our main characters when that situation came up. But I thought it was really fun, really delightful. I love this little like possum raccoon mixed pet, so cute, and I really just enjoyed the details of it. It was a pleasant time. And so then when I was traveling, I picked up a book that I don't think I've told you guys about because I forgot about it in my TBR, but my friends in the UK and I, we do a buddy read like every quarter, and that's why I read The Immortality Thief. Well, this time we read The Scholar and the Last Fairy Door, something like that. You have the cover. And I wasn't sure. I didn't know anything about this book. I just picked it up and like I loved it. I had a great time. It explores the late 1920s, early 1930s era of history in England, which I think is a really fascinating part of history that we just like don't talk about because it's just not as sexy as World War I or World War II, even though it's like that middle period is why we get to World War II, you know? But it's about magic schools, but in a different kind of way. And I just really enjoyed the found family, the interrogation of extortion and privilege in this time period in particular. And it didn't overstay its welcome. It reminded me a lot of how I felt reading The Incandescent, even though they're very different magic school books. Like one's modern day and one's, 100 years prior and things like that. But in terms of just, you get a full span of time in a book and it's just like a complete thought and you feel really satisfied. And it has the cozy qualities that I associate with a school setting. So I had a lot of fun with that. I did the audio and I read it with my eyeballs. I went back and forth. I immersion read it. It was really good at keeping me awake on a day where I wasn't supposed to fall asleep because, you're trying to fight jet lag, which I'm pretty good at not getting jet lag. I don't know if that's just because I get insomnia a lot, so I'm just really used to being tired. But that was one of the books that kept me up. And then I did end up reading Brown Girl in the Ring, which if you've been here a while, this has been on many a TBR. Like, ever since I've read Midnight Robber in 2020, I've wanted to read another Nalo Hopkinson. Nalo Hopkinson is like an OG in the Caribbean SFF space, and I've been meaning to read more of her works. It's very apparent that she's influential in a lot of Black speculative fiction in general, not just Caribbean influenced. And this one takes place in Toronto in like a dystopian future, but there's also a lot of influence of different spiritual cultures, either from it's hard for me to explain because I now have the ability to understand it when I read it, but I don't have the understanding to explain it. But I really enjoyed it. I didn't even have to use the audiobook. When I first read Midnight Robber, I needed the audiobook because the dialect was like really hard. But this time the dialect didn't bother me as much, which means growth. I can understand different things better. And I also don't think it was just as much of a barrier. But I really enjoyed it. It was pretty short. It was engaging. It was like kind of my poolside beach read when I was on my trip. And so it's not like a beach read in that it's a page turner, but it was like easy for me to just like fall into every 50 pages or so. So I'm happy that finally got done. And then I read No Gods, No Monsters. And this is my big flex for myself, is I read the entire No Gods, No Monsters in one day. Because We had a really long, like, essentially 24-hour travel day. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm just going to read a book until it doesn't interest me. Then I'll flip to a different book. And that was my plan of attack. And No Gods, No Monsters took me and didn't let me go. I am really excited for We Are the Crisis. I need to figure out how to buy a copy of this paperback because the publisher has literally sent so many copies of the second book to bookstores. I have seen the second book at now at least 7 bookstores. Have I seen the first book? No. If you have a third book in a series coming out, by God, please send your first book to a bookstore. What are we doing? And it's a small press. But anyways, I have to go figure out how to find this paperback because I have the second book in paperback. I have thought about buying the hardcovers. I have made questionable life decisions on almost buying the hardcover of the second book so I could buy the hardcover of the first book, even though I already own the second book in paperback. I did not do such maddening things, but I was this close yesterday because I was in a Barnes & Noble. The Columbus Barnes & Noble in Eaton Town Center oddly has a lot of books. Like, a lot of books. Like, its sci-fi fantasy section loaded, truly. So I read No Gods, No Monsters, and I'm, like, doing a brief summary of these because I'm going to go into more detail in my wrap-up because it just doesn't feel like I should go into detail in 2 videos that'll be relatively close to each other. But this was fascinating. I'm really glad that I read Brown Girl in the Ring first because this is... so, Nayla Hopkinson is Trinidadian. I think I'm saying that right. Someone left a comment, and I think I might be saying it wrong, but I'm unsure. It's either Trini or Trinidadian, or maybe both of those. Regardless, she's from Trinidad, has been living in Toronto for a while. So that's a lot of the Caribbean culture that is in that book. But for No Gods, No Monsters, this author's from St. Thomas Island. I think that's what it's called. It's a U.S.-owned island, because we still do that for some reason. It just doesn't feel right in my head. Maybe it is right. Maybe they are fine with that. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it that much, but it feels wrong. And usually my instinct is when something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't 100% right. Regardless, he's from there. And this book primarily takes place in Massachusetts, though, which I loved because, like, having lived in Massachusetts, like, specifically Boston for 8 years, I was like, ooh, 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 ooh. I was just, there's the fun pointing at everything. I was like, I know where that is. I can see that because that was part of my commute, etc. I thought it was a fascinating exploration of kind of science concepts, spiritual concepts, and paranormal concepts all together. I'm trying to be vague because I thought unpacking the mystery was really fun. Like, the world building mystery, I just thought was really fun. I'll probably be a tiny bit more detailed in my wrap up, but like, this is an underrated gem. I think it's very cool. Like, if you're someone who's like, I just want something different, I want something new, this was incredibly engaging to me. It was a fascinating take on a lot of ideas that I've seen before, but never in this like combination. And you really have to just like go with it because there's a lot of it where you're like, man, I'm meeting another person? Okay. Like, you meet a lot of people, but they are kind of all interconnected and you just have to trust the process. And I did, and I'm excited. I'm excited to keep going. I know everyone in my Discord who loves this series is so happy that I finally read it. But yeah. And then I wasn't planning to read this before filming this video, but I was planning to film this video last night, but I got a stomach bug and was dead. But I read But Not Too Bold. This is delightful. This is a new release novella, and this is delightful, and I need people to pick it up. It's delightful. And like, I don't mean cozy. It's like a fairy tale. It's a gothic fairy tale. And I find it delightful. What else it's 111 pages. I don't want to say a lot about it. I guess if you really are skeeved out by spiders, I do not recommend. Spiders are a big part of this book, just aesthetically, a part of the food and things like that. So if you don't like spider anatomy, hearing about how spiders look and textures and stuff, I wouldn't pick it up. But I really liked just the writing of it. It flowed so well. I read it so easily. So I'm going to have to figure out, I literally just finished this like 2 hours ago. So I have to figure out how to talk about this later, but I just read this and I really liked it. So like I said, I read a lot and I still plan to read more. I'm doing a readathon chill with my patrons this weekend. It's just really fun. And I think I'm mainly prioritizing arcs for the rest of the month. So I have Spell Shop that I need to try and get to because my friends are starting to hound me for like, are we doing the book club? I'm like, fine, I'll read the book, even though I'm not the last one standing. So, but I am a slower reader than the friend who will pick it up eventually. So I should probably try it out. And then I also want to read The Gin Bot of Shantyport. And then I also have Raven Scholar. No universe in which I'm finishing all 3 of those things this weekend. But maybe by the end of the month I could finish 2 of them. There's a chance. And there might be an audiobook in there. Like, I desperately need to do yard work. But it's been raining for literal years. Not really, but like, it's really wet outside right now. It's been raining for a while. So like, I'm a little waiting for the weather to cooperate. So there might be another book that sneaks in that's just like an audiobook. Oh, there's another book I read this month that I didn't tell you guys about. I read is Everything is Tuberculosis. I read this one as an audiobook. It was delightful. I mean, my general rule of thumb right now is that the only two white men who get to talk to me on the internet about anything science related are the Green brothers. Like, that's it. Like, they're the only ones I listen to. I don't listen to anyone else. I'm being facetious, but actually I have a weird... I'm developing late in life. Like, I know everyone developed a parasocial relationship with these two way earlier in their YouTube days, but I just started discovering them for some reason, even though I've read Hank Green's book and I've read John Green's Fault in Our Stars. Like, this is my first time interacting with them just being YouTubers. And that's partially why I picked up Everything's Tuberculosis. And I just thought it was like, I think what I like about them is they are very accessible communicators of complex ideas. And they express a lot of things that I struggle to express in ways that I'm like, okay, cool, I can lean on kind of this argument shape to try and talk to other people in my life. So I really appreciate how good they are at communicating complex ideas, such as, you know, why should we be investing in healthcare across the world? Like, what are the benefits of that? And then there's the history of tuberculosis and the different names it has. Also, like, having just been, you know, prepping to teach a microbiology course, it's like really fun listening and like just knowing when they are not necessarily dumbing something down, but again, shifting it into an accessible form of complex information. So yeah, so that's another thing I read. So some audiobook like that, I have no idea. I have the audiobook for Drop of Corruption. So that could happen, because I did like the audiobook of the first one. So I have no idea. That could be an audiobook that I pick up. I also have an audiobook of Spell Shot, but I don't think it's very good for me. My friend also didn't really like it. So yeah, that's just Friday Reads. It's just, like I said, it was kind of rapid fire because I don't really know how to think right now, because I have both slept for so long and I'm so tired because my body is still a little angry at me. But also I figure the wrap-up's in a couple weeks, and I'm gonna have such fun groups, guys. Like, sometimes I can't do groups because I haven't read enough books, but this month, I mean, I think I've already read like 9 books, so we're gonna get to double digits this month, which is kind of fun. And it's a stronger reading month than last month, if only because I get to like check things off lists, which makes me so happy. Last couple things, I have 2 movie updates, because I also watched 2 movies on my flight. One is I finally watched Captain America Brave New World, and this is my weirdest take. Maybe it's a hot take. I don't know. It's not a bad movie. It's a good movie. Like, I think it's like a 7 out of 10. Like, is it a great movie? No. Some of the action scenes are kind of funny and how bad they are. But I was expecting to not like the non-action scenes. But actually, all the non-action scenes, which is the majority of the movie, I really liked. I loved that Captain America has this, like, Joaquin with him. Like, amazing. I loved their dynamic. I loved the integration of the, like one of the forgotten caps that we learned about in the TV series. I really loved the arc that Harrison Ford's character went through. Like, I was touched. There were many moments where I was like, oh no. Like, I don't know. I was not expecting to be emotionally affected by what, by all accounts, was told to me to be a mid-movie. But there were multiple times where I was just like, oh. Now, you know, I've definitely also watched, like, way worse Marvel movies, like Thor 1, Thor 2. They're pretty bad. I know a lot of people hate on Iron Man 2, but I think I like this as much as I like Iron Man 2, which is a fair bit. Like, I like the movies. And I really liked, so this current Captain America doesn't have serum, so he's not super strong and can't heal super fast, right? And they do adjust his fighting style for that. It looks really dumb when he's punching, but it's really cool when he's being more agile and trying to not get hit and being more strategic with his tech and his maneuvers. I thought that was very cool. So largely, I liked it. I wish it could have been made more in like a creative bubble and not like Disney owns everything bubble, because it's very obvious that it like had gone through so many edits and it's like, okay, there is something still good here, but it might have been great if they had like the ability to just cook, you know? They weren't allowed to cook. Other movie that is, this is a lukewarm, cold, ice cold take, basic bitch girl take. I loved The Wild Robot. Oh my god. That's delightful. That's a delightful film. So cute. It does not make sense in terms of ecology, and that does not matter. Oh my gosh. If you have not seen this movie, you should see it. It's very cute. I was very emotionally affected. Yeah, I mean, I've been wanting to see it for forever, and again, it was just like, I'm on an airplane for like 9 hours. And although I'd love to be the type of person who could read for 9 hours, it's not me. So that's this Friday Reads. Let me know what you're reading, doing, and watching. If you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here, leave a robot for The Wild Robot, and otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.